Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Savannah Reagan, and I am the Education Director here at NC Realtors. Thank you so much for joining us today for AI Advantages for Realtors with Craig Grant. I would like to just let you know that this webinar is going to be recorded. You are able to ask him questions if time allows, but I very much appreciate you joining us for this free benefit to our members today. I would like to go ahead and introduce our speaker slash instructor slash sports fanatic,
All that.
tech guru, Craig Grant, my friend. And I really hope you get a lot of benefit from today's session. So, Craig, you are all set to go.
All right, sounds good. So, welcome everyone to today's session. As Savannah mentioned, my name is Greg Grant. I'm going to be your instructor for the next hour, teaching you all about the advantages and how you could use AI in your real estate life and business. And just kind of give you a quickie on me, I'm a speaker based out of Florida, but I'm rarely here. I'm usually all over the industry every day, teaching realtors everything's about technology, whether it's AI, cybersecurity, marketing, it doesn't matter. I always say if there's a geeky topic, I cover it. But my job as a speaker is to make this topic as non-geeky as possible, make it easy for you guys to understand. So like Savannah mentioned, if you do have questions, feel free to put them in the chat or the Q&A. I'll try to do my best following that as we go. And again, don't be shy. And like Savannah mentioned, this is going to be recorded, so you'll have the ability to get access to it. Plus, she's going to be sending an email of that recording to you guys pretty soon. So that being said, let's start teaching a little bit about AI. And by the way, I always say my classes, I try not to make them geeky and not vocabulary heavy, but there are just a couple of definitions or kind of terms you need to understand just to be able to follow along with this hour. So the first one is we're going to teach you what artificial intelligence actually is, a derivative called generative AI, and computer vision. These are kind of the three bases of this session. And starting with artificial intelligence, most people call AI. So it's a set of technology that enables computers to do a lot of advanced things that a typical computer cannot do, including the ability to see, taste, smell, feel, understand, and incorporate human emotions and conditions. It can tell if you're happy or sad, healthy or sick, and so on. It can translate both spoken and written languages, be incredibly artistic, analyze huge amounts of data, make recommendations, and a whole lot more. So, what it really is, you look at the two major companies at the forefront of this, which are really Google and OpenAI, the company behind ChatGPT and a few other products. And what these two companies are literally doing is they are literally scraping the entire history of the public internet. In other words, every word, every picture, every video, you name it, on the internet from day one that was public. In other words, not behind a login or a paywall. They stole every bit of that data ever on the internet, dropped it into one gigantic database, and they have their computer software engineers writing software to teach the computer to use the content, the history of the internet, to think and act and perform like a human being would. So, in other words, if you ask it to write you a property description, it will create you a new original property description. But it's going to look at the history of every property description it's ever seen on the internet to try to create you a new original one. You ask it to create a picture of a family in a kitchen, it will create you a new original picture of a family in a kitchen that's never been seen before. But it'll look at the history of every picture it's ever seen of families in kitchens to create you the new original one. So that's what it's really doing is, again, using the history of the internet's content to think and act to perform like a human would, but it's doing it at a much higher level and in way more categories than any human can really do. And what I mean by that is, I doubt you can find anyone on planet who's a genius level mathematician, an amazing content writer, a great social media person, a great, you know, accountant and finance person and artist and all these different things. But that's really what you have the ability to use with AI is genius level of everything. Now, that doesn't mean it's all going to be accurate. There still could be some issues with accuracy or laws that you got to be careful of, but it really does give you access to genius level just about everything in every category. And then you have a derivative called generative AI, which is kind of the craze right now. All the tools we're going to talk about in this session, such as ChatGPT, Gemini, Midjourney, and a bunch of others, are all doing what's called generative AI, which is, again, it's using the history of the internet's content to create new content like a human would, but it's generating original custom content every single time for every single user. So, in other words, let's just say everyone in this course goes to the exact same tool. Y'all go to ChatGPT. And even weirder, you type in the exact same words in your prompt. Create me a community profile for Charlotte, North Carolina. It would still create an original community profile about Charlotte for every single person typing in that prompt. it does it automatically. Now, would Jessica's be radically different than Tom's? No, but it would be just enough different so it doesn't look like duplicated content. And even more importantly, it passes the legal sniff test. So you, the user, doesn't get sued for copyright violations, plagiarism, and so on. And also the company providing you this content, such as Google or OpenAI, they don't get sued for providing you the content because it's creating original custom content every single time for every single user. And the other thing you'll learn about these tools is they also learn about you. It's called your persona. They start learning your personality, how you like and don't like content created, and so on. So it gets even more custom just to you, kind of your brand and personality. The more you use it, the more it learns about you. But by default, again, everything is original every single time. That's called generative AI. And then a third one is called computer vision. And this one I always kind of point out because a lot of realtors don't even know this exists. What computer vision basically is, AI is not just great at reading and looking at data and content. What it's even more impressive at is looking at things, visual things. It can look at a picture, watch a video, whether it's live or recorded, and understand everything happening in that picture or video in real time. So you may not understand how this is a big deal, but it's huge. We're going to show you in the real estate world how big this is becoming because it can literally see everything going on in pictures and videos. So, as an example, computer vision AI can not only within a split second identify the picture on the left is a kitchen, but it will identify every aspect of that kitchen. The flooring materials that it's tile, the white countertops, the white cabinets and the granite countertops, the stainless steel appliances and the double oven. It would be able to identify all this stuff. It'd be able to look at the ceilings and the walls to see if there's been any water damage or roof or repairs done to them. And not just be able to diagnose these things, but give it condition scoring and an actual money value of what that kitchen's worth compared to another kitchen on the market in that same area that's outdated and isn't improved. So that is the power of computer vision, and you're going to see it's creeping into real estate in a lot of different ways. All right, see a question in the Q&A from Jessica. Is it true that AI is not good for the environment? If so, how it affects it? Absolutely, it's not good for the environment. Tools like ChatGPT, Gemini, a lot of these platforms are using a gigantic amount of power and water to kind of do their processing. So these kind of like, server farms that they have are just using amazing amounts of power and water to do everything. So it is definitely a horrible thing for the environment. So hopefully they'll improve that over time, but as of right now, it is using a lot of resources. Um, Barbin just asked, what was the first AI that I mentioned? It was just the definition of artificial intelligence, what AI actually is. Okay, so we went through AI, generative AI, and computer vision. Okay, so here's the reality. AI has been around in our lives almost from the day you were born, depending on how old you are. It's been around for over 70 years. And by the way, if you do download the slide deck that we're providing you for this course, it's much more than what we're covering here in this hour. And yeah, I literally walk you through the history of how far it goes back and all the different things, plus a lot more than what we're going to cover in this session. Okay. But the reality is, we would not have weather forecasts, GPS, self-driving vehicles, the way you can order something on Amazon, have it on your doorstep by the next day, Uber, Spotify, any of these things without AI. So AI has been in our lives pretty much from day one. Okay. But the reality is, during that 70-year period, it was just for the richest corporations, governments. Really, the average person could not really utilize AI the way you wanted to use it. But that all literally changed on one date, November 30th, 2022, because that's the date a company called OpenAI launches their product called ChatGPT. I'm not saying ChatGPT is the greatest product ever invented. We're going to show you some other stuff here that's even cooler and does more things than ChatGPT, right? But the bottom line is, what ChatGPT really did is it made AI accessible to the entire world to use it however you wanted to use it. If you want to go in there one day and create, let's say, marketing materials, you want to go in the next day and create your business plan, property descriptions, whatever, you could use it however you wanted to use it at all times. Okay. All right, Megan, I see you've raised your hand, so I'm assuming that means you want to ask a question verbally. So I'll give you the ability to talk if you want to.
That was an accident. I'm so sorry.
Okay, not a problem at all. I'll go back and lower that for you, no problem. All right. So again, that was kind of a game-changing thing. They put the power of AI into everyone's hands to use it however you wanted to use it. But the other very sneaky thing that happened on that date is they also made their API free as well. And an API, if you don't know what it is, it stands for Application Programming Interface. It's a very common thing in the tech software world. For example, your MLS has an API. That's how you're able to have an IDX property search on your website, is another company can tap into the API for your MLS, pull the property data out, and build a search for your website. So APIs are very common in the software world, but it was kind of unheard of or unthought of to do this with a platform like a ChatGPT. And the reason why this was such a sneaky thing, this is why over 25,000 new companies have launched over the last 2 years. And why just about every product software you've been using for the last who knows how many years all of a sudden has an AI upgrade that it didn't have 2 years ago. It's the fact that anybody can tap right into OpenAI's API and build their own AI product or integrate it into their existing product. So again, this was another game-changing thing. This is why we've had so many new AI products and upgrades over the last couple of years. So what can these platforms do? And I put at the top here, not just ChatGPT, because Google Gemini does everything ChatGPT is to the same quality and level. So does Claude. So do several other ones. Okay. But what they can do for you is help you brainstorm up ideas for anything. If you struggle with coming up with ideas for social media, for blogging, whatever, they're great at idea generation. They're incredible at creating content, helping you improve your communications and write your communications. Imagery, animations and video, marketing materials, code such as building websites and apps, and a whole lot more. So just as a quick example, we're going to give you much more specifics in a minute. We can use this to come up with all of our ideas every day for social media and then actually the content to post. Help us write web page and blog articles, video scripts, listing descriptions, ad copy, help you with your emails and phone scripts and a whole lot more. So really, we can use this to do just about anything. In fact, what I always say is the only real limitation AI has is your imagination. Because I have tried things just on a whim saying, let's see if it can do this. And it only does it, it does it at a very impressive level, very complicated, multi-step things. AI is becoming pretty incredible at doing just about anything. So that being said, let's start jumping into the big thing we're here for today, which is the 23 different ways you could be using AI right now in your life and your business. And the majority of these you could use right now. Okay. A few of them are what I call coming soons, which means either it's something I know is in the works, kind of knowing some of our vendors in the industry, what they're working on, or a couple of the coming soons are they're out there already in the real estate world. This might not be in your local market. Okay. But some of this stuff is, again, might be just coming soon based on where you're at. So the first way you should definitely be using AI for just about anything is helping you with automations, automating tasks. If there's anything you're currently doing in your life or your business that's kind of a menial task, you're sick of doing it every day, responding to those emails, or whatever it might be, you might want to think about how I can use AI to help me automate that process and gain back a few minutes a day not doing them manually anymore. So automations is definitely something you should be thinking about how I can use AI to do. And by the way, just as some resources for you, these are a couple great sites to help you with AI automations. So the two on the left, whattheai.tech, or there's an AI for that.com. What these two sites do is review just about every new AI product on the market. And they give it descriptions and what it does, and then ability to go get those tools if you want to. And these sites are fully searchable. So you can go to them and say, is there already an automation out there for blank? And see if there's already AI tools out there to help you with some automations. And by the way, Zapier's been out there for a long time. Zapier has millions what they call zaps, automations you can go for just about anything, not just AI tools. Okay. And just kind of give an example of a way I've used these kinds of sites to find automations to help me. Is one of the ways I say still on top of technology and AI is through video content. There's so much amazing content uploaded every day to sites like YouTube, but I don't have time to watch it all, right? So I went to these sites, I put in the word YouTube, and I found this tool that literally watches YouTube videos for me. I just give it a link to a video on YouTube, and let's say it was a 32-minute video. 30 seconds later, I get a full summary and takeaways from that video because this watches it for me and gives me the breakdowns of what the video is about. Okay. So gives me back a whole lot more time out of my day, not having to sit there and watch all these videos. So again, if there's anything you can think of that's kind of a menial task, think how I can automate it. And just so you know, one of the big pushes that's starting to happen in the business world and in the real estate industry is what are called AI assistants. An AI assistant is almost like a clone of you to help you do your job. So AI assistants could do all kinds of things, such as helping you with your calendar and scheduling reminders and appointments, doing Q&A and customer service, managing your to-do list, doing all these different things. It's almost like a clone of you. And I've already, I teach in longer versions how to build out your own AI assistant if you want to do it yourself, or there are now several vendors that are building realtor AI assistants to help you do parts of your job. Okay, so that's definitely something you want to put on your radar because it's definitely starting to happen a lot in our industry. Number two, is helping you identify content ideas. Most realtors I know struggle with things like social media, blogging, just content creation, because they don't even know what to create content about. Well, as I mentioned, AI is amazing at brainstorming. So you can do a prompt, something like this: identify 52 blog post ideas a realtor should make for they're trying to increase their SEO score. So in other words, I don't want you to just give me 52 blog post titles I should create. These are the best 52 I should create if I'm trying to do better on a search engine for, and my community is senior retirees and gated communities in Stewart, Florida, right? Obviously, you'd swap that out for your area and needs in your business. But it literally will do the brainstorming for you and give you a list of all the ideas you should be creating content about. We can also use this to help us come up with what are the right keywords we're using in our content, the right hashtags we're using for our post, the best or most creative titles and bullet points. Again, brainstorming, helping you with content ideas is a huge thing. All right, see a question in the Q&A? Will a ChatGPT product I produce be seen and or used by anyone else, or is my product hidden from others? So, Vic, we didn't have time to get into all the different options, like the different packages they offer, but that is a huge difference between free accounts and paid accounts. Free accounts, your data is not private at all. So whatever you put into them, you're kind of feeding the worldwide database they're using. So there is really no privacy or protection of your content in the free accounts. Paid accounts are viewed as business accounts, so they do have full privacy of content. Okay, so it's huge reason you want to go with a paid account. And there's many more. I mean, they're much more powerful. They do more things. And just so you guys know, all the major platforms, free accounts, paid accounts are typically around $20 a month, and team accounts are typically around $25 a month. Okay. But typically, like all the big vendors are typically in that range. But I always recommend picking one and paying for one. All right, idea number three you should be using AI for is content creation itself. Why stop with a list of ideas? Have it actually help you build content. So like we mentioned earlier, we could use this for our social media, our blogs and webpage content, video scripts, ad copy, emails, phone scripts, and a lot more. So a second ago, we did that prompt, give me a list of the 52 titles of articles, right? Why should your next prompt in your sequence? By the way, a sequence is when one prompt builds off of previous prompt. So we already did the prompt, give us the 52 titles. Your second prompt in the sequence could be something like this. Now go write me article for idea number one in that list, and then idea number two, and idea number three. Yes, you do have to repeat the question 52 times in a row. Can't say just write all 52 articles at once. But if I did repeat that question 50 times in a row, my whole year's worth of blog articles could be done in under 10 minutes, right? So helping you come up with ideas and content, and then creating the content, it's amazing at. And by the way, let's say you did create your whole year's worth of blog articles. Why should your next prompt in the sequence not be, now go create me the video script for idea number one in that list, and then idea number two, and idea number three, right? We can actually have it create multiple forms of content if we keep building on our sequence. So again, do that 50 times in a row, and you'd have your whole year's worth of videos to go with those articles. And now you're attacking it in multiple areas, okay, from a marketing standpoint. It can also help you create content for something you might not have a lot of knowledge about, okay? Correct me if I'm wrong, just about every customer these days is still worried about things like interest rates, right? Well, maybe you have AI help you create an article for something like this. create a blog article explaining how rising interest rates affects the local Durham, North Carolina real estate market. It helps you come up with an article, something you may not be a genius at. But what I always say is when it comes to AI content, okay, I always say it does 90% of the work. You have to do that last 10%. And what I mean by that is you should never do copy and paste in the AI world. You got to read it over, make sure everything in there looks accurate, doesn't violate fair housing or any other laws like the Code of Ethics, and everything in there is kind of your brand and represents you well. Because if there's something in that article that's totally inaccurate, you're misleading the public and I could get in trouble. Or if there's just something in there that's not true about your market or whatever it might be, we got to make sure we review everything. You got to look at pictures, make sure there's not 7 fingers on the hand or anything weird in the picture before you publish it. But I always say 10% of the work, kind of reviewing it and tweaking it if you need to, is way better than the 100% of the work you've been doing your entire life, right? Have AI help you do that 90%, and then you finish it and do that last 10%. But you always got to review before you publish. All right, another question in the Q&A. Somebody told me that the Google algorithms and social media are starting to recognize ChatGPT written content and suppressing it. Is that true? I want to use it to write blogs, but I'm advised not to do so. Okay. There is some truth to that. Not just, all the social media site algorithms, the search engine algorithms are trying to detect, was this content created by a human or was it created by AI? And if they can tell it was written by AI, it will get suppressed or get less exposure in the results on social media or not do very well on search engines like Google. So there is definitely some truth to that. But that's again another reason why you do that last 10%. If you copy and paste it, yeah, they're probably going to figure out you wrote this with AI. But if we go in and we tweak it a little bit, put in a little bit of our own personality, stuff like that, now it would not realize it was done by AI because you've added your own little personal touch. Again, that last 10%, you got to do that last 10% for a lot of reasons. All right, idea number 4 we could be using AI for is property descriptions. So a lot of realtors struggle with property descriptions, especially if you've been in the business for a long time. Oh, and by the way, here's a perfect example of an AI image that I should have reviewed better before I put it in my slide. For say, Slee, I don't even know what it's trying to type there. The words on that building make no sense, right? You got to review things. But again, going back to the property descriptions, a lot of realtors struggle making every property sound original and fresh. Well, we can have AI help us do that. And we could either give it a bunch of the features of the property, such as this, write me a property description for 3 bedroom, 3 bath, 3950 square feet, and all the details we want in there. Or you can just give it a link to the listing if it's already out there on the internet and ask it to pull the data out and write you a property description. Okay. But property descriptions is something you should do. But here's an example of, again, we don't just want to copy and paste. We got to worry about certain things because you might want to ask to look at the fair housing laws or give it a link to the page on the HUD website where the fair housing laws are, or upload the PDF file of those fair housing laws, right? But we want to make sure we're being careful using AI content. And by the way, we talked about a sequence a second ago from the list of titles of blog articles. We can do a sequence off of anything. Once we have our property description created, now go get me the video script, help me promote that property, right? So again, there's different things we can do here. And by the way, one thing if you're not aware of it, RPR, which is such an amazing member benefit tool that NAR provides, did a major upgrade a few months ago where they fully integrated ChatGPT into RPR. So anytime you're doing any kind of a geographic search, we're searching by a zip code, a town, or an area, there's now a button up at the top right of the screen that says create a script. So this is a tool they've created called Script Writer. Okay. If I click on the create script button, another screen pops up and now I can create content about that area that I'm searching for. Do I want a video script about it? Do I want a social media campaign about that area? Or do I want a summary of metrics about that area? So pretty awesome that RPR has done this where you can very quickly create content about any kind of geographic search. And also RPR has added a pretty impressive Canva library where you can very quickly create really nice looking content in Canva about a property or about an area. All right. Idea number 5 we could be using AI for is helping us create imagery. And AI imagery is just incredible. The stuff you can do and how fast you can do it. Incredibly lifelike, beautiful looking stuff that if you were to pay a graphic designer to do, would take them hours and hours of work and they'd have to charge you a lot of money, whereas you could do it yourself in split seconds. So the days of having to set up a photo shoot or spend hours looking through an online photo log to find the one perfect picture are kind of over because you can create your own imagery yourself in split seconds. So if you don't know the options that are out there, okay, we have above that line and below the line. So what I mean by that is all the vendors I'm showing you above the line. ChatGPT provides you Dolly. Google Gemini provides you Google Image Gen. If you have Canva Pro, it includes Canva Magic Media and so on. So any of the ones above the line, image creation comes with your accounts. So you don't have to go buy something separate. If you're using anything above the line, you can create AI imagery right inside there without going, included. Below the line are some separate companies you may or may not know about that you would have to decide if I want to go pay for one, like Midjourney or Ideogram or Stability. Okay. And the reason I'm showing you these two different options above the line creates good imagery. Okay. And if you're happy with what you're getting above the line, stay there. I'm not saying you got to go buy a Midjourney if you're happy what you're getting inside of ChatGPT or Google Gemini or Canva. Okay. But if you're looking for incredible imagery, you might want to look at possibly buying below the line. And the biggest reason is the companies above the line are some of the biggest global corporations there are. And therefore, they're a little bit more worried about ethics and how you can use their tools. In fact, they signed what's called the AI Bill of Rights, which was created under the Biden administration. It has been canceled now under the Trump administration. We're not really sure how that's going to play out. But because they had signed that AI Bill of Rights, they really try to make it where you can't do anything unethical above the line. So, just as an example, if I want to create a picture of a person, if I do it above the line, it'll either say, sorry, I will not do that, or it'll purposely make the picture of people look kind of cartoony looking. So it's obvious it was done with AI. Whereas below the red line, you can go and choose an exact real person, not just a family, and make them do something 100% embarrassing and see every wrinkle on their face. Like they have much less ethics because they're not these huge corporations. All right, Karen, you have a question? Karen, I gave you the ability to speak if you have a question. All right, we'll go back to mute. Go ahead, Lee. You had a question? All right, I'm almost going to stop allowing people to talk. Go ahead.
Sorry about that. I use ChatGTP to create some videos,
Correct.
and like yours, the words don't come out correctly.
Correct.
And I don't know if they're doing that on purpose. How do I correct that? It doesn't.
It's just a known issue, like it's a weakness of AI imagery so far, is words on top of picture, like overlaid, typically are misspelled or do weird things. And there is some very basic editing tools in Dolly, which is inside ChatGPT. But what I typically recommend is if you're going to create a picture in a ChatGPT or Google or any of these tools, bring it over to Canva, and it's much easier to edit in Canva because Canva has some pretty great editing tools where you can just grab the text and change the text or anything like that.
But the guys below the line, I won't have that problem, or is it still the same?
If you ask for words on it, they typically will have the same issue with words.
Okay. All
Yep.
right.
It's just a weird thing so far that they haven't ironed that bug out of it. Creating imagery with words on it typically has a lot of issues.
Yeah, I was trying to get it to design shirts,
Yep.
and it just couldn't get the names right.
Right. Exactly. Yep. Happens all the time. All right,
Yeah.
Jessica. Give you the ability. Nope. And she's gone. And she's back. Go ahead, Jessica. Going, gone. All right. All right. Brian asked a question in the chat. She's saying she can't talk. Brian asked a question. Do you have to worry about copyright laws for the pics? The answer, and it's kind of we don't have time to get into all the legal stuff. That might have to be a different follow-up session. But the truth is, if you create AI imagery or content at this point, it is legal to use unless you're impersonating somebody else without their knowledge. So if you make a deep fake video of somebody, they don't know you've done it, or if you're kind of copying someone else's content, then you got to be very careful. You could get in trouble for that. Okay. All right. I'm going to kind of table a couple questions just so we keep us on schedule, guys, but I'll come back to the ones in the chat a little bit. All right. Number 6 is helping us with marketing materials. So we don't have time to go nuts going through everything about Canva, but Canva is such an incredible platform that helps you design just about anything in your life. All your marketing materials, videos, websites, you name it. And there's even a little mini office suite built into it as well. And the best part about Canva, if you're not familiar with it, is how template driven it is. In other words, no matter what you want to design, this is not only an example of a flyer, it's a real estate print flyer. So there's hundreds of real estate design templates no matter what you're wanting to design. That's not true with every industry, but it is a huge advantage for real estate. And it's very easy to use. You find design library you want, you click on it, move it over, make whatever little changes you want. So if you want to swap out that picture of that kitchen with a picture of the actual kitchen of your own listing, you just drag it into that spot. You want to swap out the picture of that girl with your own profile picture, you just drag it into that spot, and so on. It's very easy to update and edit in Canva. And there's also a huge media library with millions of professional photos, videos, music, you name it. And then once you learn how to use it, again, this was a print flyer. The design on the left is an Instagram post. The one in the middle is a video, and the one on the right is a slide deck presentation. The editing screen looks exactly the same no matter what you're working on. So I get to learn a whole new software to do videos or slide decks. If you learn how to use it, you can design anything you want, even websites. So you can use Canva completely for free, but if you do, every time you take a picture out of the library, a video, or whatever, you're gonna have to pay $1 to buy the copyrights every time you use anything from the library. But if we have Canva Pro, which is only $120 a year, to me, it's probably the best value you have in your business. Everything in the media library automatically includes copyrights. You don't have to worry about paying $1 here and there. You can use anything in the library you want anytime. But then also has a lot of advanced editing tools that the free account doesn't have, including what's called Magic Studio. Magic Studio is a whole suite of AI tools that Canva now provides you that makes it even easier to do things in. Okay. So for example, I mentioned getting words out of a picture that AI created for you. I can just open up that picture inside of Canva, use the magic text button. It'll identify all the text in that design, and I can easily edit all the text. Or I can do magic grab if I want to kind of pick up something or move it or delete it out of a picture. Let's say it's a crowded room and you don't want to get rid of those boxes and the extra furniture. I can use Magic Grab and I select those items and get rid of them in one click. So it's very easy to edit in Canva, especially if you have the paid account. Magic Design does the entire design for you without you having to spend any time in the library. Magic Media creates imagery and so on. So we have all these awesome tools in Canva to help you design all your marketing materials. All right, number 7 is helping you with your marketing planning. A lot of realtors don't really have a true marketing plan and don't have a marketing background. So if you're not very seasoned, don't understand how to do it, you can ask AI to create your entire marketing plan for you, right? With a prompt similar to this one. We can also have it create our ad and communication plan that ties into that marketing plan. We can help it identify our target audience if we don't know it, and what are the best, most effective ways to reach that audience. Help us with the headlines and the keywords and the hashtags, creating lead funnels and lead capture, and a lot more. Okay. Number 8 is we can use AI in a bunch of different ways to do video. So for example, OpenAI, the company behind ChatGPT, they just launched their newest product called Sora, which is full video creation. Google has Google Vids now. Canva uses a tool called Runway. So we can literally create entire videos with AI now, not just edit them. There's also AI video editing tools like InVideo, Descript, and Video, where you can literally have AI edit the entire video for you without you having to go in second by second and do things. But then one tool that I've started using that I love is called HeyGen. Okay. HeyGen does a lot of things. First of all, you can either create an avatar of yourself, your face and your voice, or pick a special professional spokesmodel, what gender, whatever you want, language you want to speak, whatever, and create what are called avatar videos using this. You can also do voice cloning of your own voice or a spokesmodel's voice. Let's say you want to narrate a video. You can create, has a huge library of nice looking templates ready to go. It has a video editor built in, has a lot of different things. But the biggest, coolest things about HeyGen is the language translation. You can create one video of you speaking whatever language you're comfortable with, upload it into HeyGen. It'll convert that video up to 175 other languages using your face and your voice, and it looks totally natural no matter what language you choose. There also has the ability to do what's called merge tags, where you can create one video, hi blank, and then merge it with a list of people you want to send it to, and create each person a personalized video message with their names and everything in there. There's also what's called instant highlights. Take this 20-minute video and turn it into 10 different reels or stories for social media and a lot more. So HeyGen is pretty amazing, creating all kinds of video content. Okay. Number 9 is using AI to help you write or edit code. And I'm sure most of you are like, well, I don't care about this one. I'm not a geek on to write code. That's the exact point. The majority of code being written these days is being done by AI. You might be paying someone a lot of money to write code, and they're using AI to do it for them in seconds. So you don't have to learn code anymore. You can build your own website, build your own apps or things like that if you just understand how to talk to it. Number 10 is helping you with your office time and optimization. So what I mean by that is AI is now being built into all of our office software. It's now being built into Microsoft Office, Google Docs, Adobe software, and finally inside of Apple software as well. So that is amazing to help you with your office time and optimization. Where you could be using a tool like Gemini right inside your Gmail inbox to read and respond to your emails, or it's inside your Docs software and so on. So making you more productive in your office tools is a huge thing. But it's also starting to creep into non-traditional office software as well. So as an example, it doesn't look like NC Realtors activated it for this event, but I'm sure if you've been in a Zoom call recently, you probably noticed a button in your little toolbar called AI Companion. Well, if you clicked on that, what it literally would do is take notes for you during this entire class. It's kind of like your own personal note taker. And if you're using other platforms, you can use a tool like Otter or Tact IQ, where you can be inside a Microsoft Teams meeting and have it taking notes for you. Or not even in a virtual, it could be in a real face-to-face situation. You can use a tool like Otter to take notes if you have a meeting with a client, right? Like in real life, not just virtually. So the fact they're building it into our tools now is a pretty awesome thing. Which leads to number 11, which is office time and task management, like optimizing what you do every day. So first of all, we already talked about how you use AI to automate just about anything. That should help you kind of stay more organized and be more efficient. But also, any good software developer these days is starting to build AI into their platforms. So especially really important software that helps you run your business, such as a CRM, you might want to reach out to your vendor if you have a CRM and say, hey, did I miss an announcement? Maybe I wasn't paying attention. Did you guys add AI into it recently? And they probably are going to say, oh, yeah, we did that like 8 months ago. We sent out like 20 emails, but you might not have paid attention to the fact that good software developers are now building AI in. So you might want to reach out and say, do we have this? And I missed it. And if they say no, your follow-up question might be, well, when's it coming? And if they don't have a good answer, like a quick answer, it's coming like in the next month or so, you might want to start shopping for a new software developer because good vendors are trying to figure out how to use AI in their software to make you much more effective. Okay. And by the way, just a good example of another AI tool that's great for helping you with your time and task management is a tool like Productive. So Productive is a mobile app. You install this onto your phone. And when you install it, you have to give it legal permission to do all these things. Then you have to go into your contacts and choose which people in your contacts you want to use Productive with. So it's not going to do with everybody, okay? But let's just say George is one of my clients and I choose George in my contacts. I want to use Productive with him. It would then send George a invite and request that it will do give Craig permission to use this with you. So both parties have to mutually agree, yes, we'll use Productive. Both the realtor and the client have to agree. But once the client agrees to this, what it then does from that point on is literally spy on all the communications I have with George. It listens to all of our phone calls, it reads all of our text messages and all of our emails, and goes right into our CRM and enters in notes and summary of every communication I have with George. If George and I talk about a meeting, it goes right onto the calendar and creates the calendar invite to have a meeting with him next week on Wednesday at 3. So it literally is doing a lot of the entry we would typically have to do manually into our CRM for us by listening to your communications. All right, number 12 is helping you with your communications. So first of all, a lot of people aren't great communicators. We can use AI to write better, friendlier, more professional sounding communications. Help us with our phone scripts. We can have AI chatbot on our website for customer service. We can use AI in a lot of ways to help us improve our communications. Number 13 is problem solving. Okay. So I always say AI is like having the smartest best friend at your disposal at all times. We can just do Q&A with it. We can ask it to help us solve a problem, tell us the best way to do something, step-by-step instructions, give us advice, and so on. So I always say AI can be your tech support. You can just ask it how to fix your computer. It can be your sous chef. It can help you prepare whatever meal you're cooking, step-by-step instructions of how to do it. It's amazing at doing kind of problem solving stuff. So use it for that. Number 14 is helping you do research and projects. A lot of people think AI is just kind of single input. One question, give me an answer. No, we can have AI do multi-step projects for us. It can do research. It can do full-blown like multi-step things. So again, think about how you can use this and leverage this in your business. Number 15 is business planning. So a lot of realtors struggle because they don't really know how to organize and run a business. So if you don't have a running a business experience, have AI help you do that. Have it create your business plan for you. And that way it'll map out how to start and run your business, what you should do each month throughout the year, help you with your budget and financing and a lot more. So again, use AI every way we can think of to help us in our business. Number 16 is helping us identify risks and threats. And by the way, I could have just kind of included this with 15, but a typical business plan is not just positives. A good business plan also typically will do things like a SWOT analysis, market research, competitive research, things like that. So we can use AI to help us in these areas. Number 17 is legal advice and guidance. So by the way, both OpenAI and Google have passed the bar exam. So technically you can use them to be a lawyer. And there are now AI lawyer services out there. Would I use it if I was in serious legal trouble? No, of course I'd want a real lawyer involved if I was in legal trouble. But I've absolutely used AI to help me with some basic legal services. For example, our whole industry right now is going through contract changes. Well, if there's anything in the new contracts and forms you don't really understand, upload it into a AI platform like ChatGPT or Gemini and ask it to help you understand different clauses in the contract. Can you summarize clause number 4 at a 3rd grade level? That way you understand it and you can explain it or provide it to a client, right? I've also used AI for, again, basic legal services. There's times I get a contract from a client and it's kind of one-sided. It doesn't protect me at all. I'll have AI help me write an addendum. I've even used AI to help me kind of create an operating agreement for a business I've started, stuff like that, right? Did I go with it 100%? No, I gave it to a friend who's a lawyer and asked him to quickly review it, but that saved me a ton of money having AI create the actual agreement and just a friend tweaking it really fast, okay? So again, we can use it for basic legal services. Number 18, very similarly, is financial. It's also passed the CPA exam, so that you could use it for your taxes. And there are now AI tax services you can use. Would I use it if I really am worried? No. I have a real person, like a qualified CPA, on top of my taxes and my finances. But again, we can use AI to help us in a lot of ways. I've used AI on the financial side to help me understand finance and budgeting a little bit better, understanding the stock market. I'm having it teach me stocks a little bit better because it's something I don't have a lot of great knowledge on. And I've also used AI to help me understand the best ways to run my business from a tax standpoint. What can I do to maximize, credits and returns and things like that? All right, number 19. And by the way, these last 4 are all somewhat coming soons. And what I mean by that is some of these are already out there in the marketplace. They may just be in your market, depending on where you're based. But number 19 is streamlining transactions. So there is no doubt a lot of our vendors are working on this because a typical transaction takes way too much time and involves way too many steps and people. And what I was going to say is, like, when's the last time anybody in this class got a closing done in under 30 days that wasn't cash, right? If there's financing, it takes weeks to get a closing done, typically. And the longer a transaction takes and the more people and steps involved, there's a chance at every single step and every day for somebody to make a human error, somebody to have bias involved, or it also leaves the door open longer for things like wire transfer fraud to happen. But what our vendors are definitely working on is using AI and data to really analyze the entire transaction and get it down to minutes. And instead of having multiple steps and multiple people involved, it'll all be just one person reviewing. So AI underwriting, AI loan processing, it is all going to be tied together pretty soon, if it's not already with some of the vendors you're working with. And then kind of tied into that is number 20, which is securing transactions. So anyone who thinks AI is the biggest threat to real estate, it's not even close. It's fraud, especially things like wire transfer fraud. So that is a gigantic threat to our industry. But if we can get it down from weeks to minutes and have just one person reviewing the transaction, and at the same time move all of our transactions to smart contracts in the blockchain, that really hopefully could eradicate things like wire transfer. So all of that is definitely in the works. Number 21 is how we value properties, like price them. Because currently this is somewhat of an archaic process. The current process is first you, the real estate professional, goes out to your property, your listings, you gather as much information as you can, you go back to your office and you do your CMA, your professional value you think the property should be priced at. Then the appraiser comes along and does a lot of the same things, right? And then that's the one that really matters to the lenders is the appraiser's value, not yours. But both of those options, again, are flawed. Both the realtor and or the appraiser could have a lazy day. They can make errors. They could have bias and so on because it's a human being's opinion of what the property should price at. But what is definitely being worked on and starting to happen more and more is AI doing it instead, using all the data and being able to analyze and price the property with AI, not a human being's opinion. If you don't understand how that is happening, remember at the very beginning of the class, we talked about computer vision, how AI can see and understand things, right? And not just, again, identify that's a kitchen, but every detail of that kitchen. And that it is modern and updated, and all the ceilings and walls are in good condition, and stainless steel appliances and everything, and give this kitchen an actual value, a price, and a condition scoring compared to the house next door. That is absolutely happening. It's starting to happen in a lot of markets. Okay. So it is without a doubt going to change the pricing method. I don't know if it's going to be one or both of us, but either the appraiser or the realtor will probably be removed from the process and have the AI do it instead, right? Either we won't be doing the CMAs or the appraiser won't be involved at some point. And if you don't believe me, it's now been over 5 years since the federal government changed their policies to allow computer visualization and pricing. Before that, an appraiser had to be feet on the ground in the property. Now they're allowed to use computer vision for Freddie and Fannie. Okay, so that is definitely going to happen at some point, which leads to number 22, which is how properties are searched both by realtors and consumers, and how the searches even get properties even get into the search in the first place. In other words, how they're entered into the MLS. Okay, because again, this is somewhat of an archaic process. The current process is you, the real estate professional, goes out to your listing, you gather as much information as you can. Either you or the photographer takes all the pictures and the videos of the property, and then you go back and manually enter all that into your MLS. And again, we have issues here. First of all, searching has gotten worse in our industry, not better over the last decade or so. Because you go back 20 years ago, every MLS was very custom and localized. Now, almost the entire industry has gone to standardization of fields. And what I mean by that is my MLS where I live in Southeast Florida is the exact same MLS you have in any market you're in North Carolina. All the fields are pretty much identical. There's nothing localized anymore, which means searching has gotten worse. It's very hard to find a very specific property for a client. Okay. But again, if we bring back the computer visualization Anything in the property would be a searchable field, regardless if it's a field in your MLS or not. Okay. Again, we can search for the white cabinets. We can search for granite countertops or anything we want if it's tagged in the picture with computer visualization. So just as an example, I always jokingly say, good luck finding a property like this for a client right now. Find me a home that sleeps 4 bedrooms, 3 bath, over 3,000 square feet, has an infinity pool, a raised hot tub with a waterfall, white cabinets and granite countertops in the kitchen, and a mobile fireplace and bamboo floors in the master bedroom. Good luck finding that for a client right now. But it will definitely be possible in your market soon if it's not already. And if you don't believe me, there's companies like Resby. Resby is not the only vendor out there doing this, but they're definitely the first to market and the first one getting a lot of success within the real estate industry. In fact, Resby has now signed up close to 100 MLSs around the country. Okay. And they're live in several of them. And what I'm going to show you very quickly is a video from Resby. All the realtor has entered in is the very first screen of information, the address, the price. That's all they've entered in. And now comes Resby. We're going to upload all of these photos. And our Resby does everything else based on the pictures. So very quickly, it's identifying what room or part of that property every single one of these pictures is. So right now, it's kind of doing all the initial tagging. And you can see over on the right side, it's filling in all that information. Now we're going to go to step 2, which is we're going to click into one of these pictures. And we're going to see all those little orange touch points. It's already identified the fireplace and the materials and the ceiling and all that stuff. Now we're going to do the same to the kitchen. It's going to have way more touch points in the living room. Okay. Now comes the real estate professional's job. We got to review it, make sure I got everything right. Because maybe it didn't know that that floor is not really tile, it's a laminate, right? Still your job, make sure I got all of it right. Now it's going to go back and enter all that information into every single room and create descriptions of every single room with all those features. Now it's doing compliance check. Is there anything in these pictures that get you fined in your MLS, such as a yard sign in a picture? Now it's creating the descriptions of that property in different styles. Okay, so it's doing all of this just based on the photo uploads of that property. And it's not just that it's creating the ideas and the content. It can also do things like condition scoring. It can say this property is a fully updated modern property and all these new amenities and everything. I'm going to give it a 98 out of 100 compared to the house next door that hasn't been updated since the 80s and it needs a lot of work. I'm going to give that one a condition scoring of a 34. And that way, if you're doing a CMA, you're pulling in good comps. You can say only pull in properties that have over a 90 into the CMA. I don't want to compare it to a house that hasn't been touched since the 80s. So this is the kind of stuff that is absolutely starting to happen in markets around the country. Which leads to number 23, which is customer service. So everything I've shown you in the first 22 should help you do your job faster and better. You won't be doing as much manual work, entering things into your MLS or typing up stuff in your CRM and so on. And what that really means is it should give you more time left over for better customer service. So anyone who thinks this is going to hurt the real estate professional, I think is the opposite. I think we're about to enter a new generation, not based on age, based on AI competency of realtors who are just better realtors because they're leveraging AI. Because if Nessa goes home and starts really crushing AI, she might have better customer service than you, better communications, better marketing, and so on than a realtor who's not doing this. So that leads to kind of the last thing is what is the real future impact of AI in the real estate world? And by the way, nobody knows. Even the people that run these huge companies don't know what's going to happen over the next couple of years. But I do believe in the old saying, if you want to know what's going to happen in the future, just follow the money trail now. Because what's happening in the AI world is bonkers. You got to the end of 2023, and the global GDP for AI was $165 billion. By the end of this decade, it'll be 1.6 trillion. This is the next internet. It's the next mobile revolution, whatever you can think of. It's the next gigantic new thing. And everything I've shown you, you're probably kind of crazed about, right? Well, right now we're dealing with the current versions of ChatGPT and Gemini. Well, both of them are starting to roll out their newest versions. And that means that it's about to get way crazier very soon. So is AI going to impact a lot of people? Is it going to change some people's jobs? Is it going to possibly cost some people their jobs? Absolutely. Okay. There's no way of getting around it. If a company can run faster and more efficient with less people, they're going to do it. Okay. So some businesses are going to absolutely change because of AI. But when it comes to real estate, and I know you guys all want this question, is it going to replace us? My answer is an emphatic no. Okay. And the reason why I don't think we're going to get replaced is the same way if my life is on the line, I want a competent doctor doing things. If my livelihood's on the line, I want a competent lawyer. If my entire life savings are on the line, I want a competent CPA and I want a competent realtor to help me through that process. Not an AI platform that's known to just make things up and lie sometimes, or even be racist for no darn reason. They can't figure out why. Okay. So to me, no, we're not going to get replaced by AI. But as I mentioned, I do think we're at that horse and buggy moment where if you don't start going home and start using AI in your life and your business, you will get run over by a realtor who does. Okay. Again, if another realtor is using this, they can be faster than you and more efficient and better customer service. So again, I don't think it's going to replace us, but I do think it's time you need to start using it if you're not already. All right. So that's kind of our presentation, but I'm of course going to go back through the Q&A, see if I missed anything, and also the chat as well. See a bunch of stuff there too. And also give you guys the ability, if you want to jump in with questions. So let's start with the chat. Let me see if I missed anything there. So a couple of people asked about the slide deck. So NCR is going to be sending you an email with a link to the PDF of the presentation and also a link to the video once that's available as well. So that's going to come from NCR. Okay. All right. Andy asks, what will you be talking about Perplexity Anthropic? Not really, Andy. And I'm sure you know that at this point. So to me, and it's not that they're good, not good. Both Perplexity and Anthropic are very impressive. They score out just as good as ChatGPT and Gemini in all the testing. Okay. Every once in a while, they beat them in certain tests. But the biggest reason why I typically push people to Google or to ChatGPT is from a legal standpoint. And from a, almost like an insurance standpoint, the three biggest companies, Google, OpenAI, and Microsoft, have all said publicly, if you get sued for while you're using our tools, we'll pay your legal fees and we'll help represent you in court. So the three biggest companies, it's like having insurance at the same time as using their platforms because they're going to spend whatever it takes to crush every legal case. They really are. Okay. So again, I'm not saying Anthropic and Perplexity aren't good. They are very impressive, but to me, it's the legal protections you get with the big companies is a big deal. It's more questions about that slide deck. Okay, Laura asked, do the articles have sources provided so we can prove our blog info is correct? So yes, typically now they're adding sources to the end of anything it creates, or if they don't, you're going to say, please provide me the sources that you used. And by the way, that is something you need to do. You need to check those sources. Like I mentioned, do that last 10% of the work. We got to click and go make sure that source of content is a good, reliable source of content and also not one with a total vested interest. And just an example, what I mean by that, let's say you're writing an article about adding solar panels to your home, like the advantages of it. And the source it's using is from a solar power company. They have a vested interest. They're not going to tell you any of the bad stuff, right? So we got to check sources as well. Smart to do so. All right, Lee was asking about the pictures, what we did verbally. Yep, another person asking about the recordings. Appreciate the offer to be a sponsor. Is this video available? Yep. Again, it's not going to be on the NAR site. This is all going to be coming from North Carolina Realtors. Okay. Yep. Malik said streamlining transactions is the most exciting thing. Again, if your MLS is not currently using a company like Respi, the odds are they probably have at least been contacted by them. But it might be something you might want to go back to your leadership and say, this is something we should look into if you liked it. Yep, Lizzie said, looking forward to advanced searches. That is definitely a plus. Is there a platform that already on the market that has all of these in one place, kind of like a one-stop shop for all these tools? No. Again, you can use a tool like a ChatGPT, Gemini, Perplexity, do a lot of very cool things, but then you're typically going to have to go to another platform if you really want to create really good looking videos. You want to create really good other things, right? they're like the ChatGPTs and Geminis are kind of a jack of all trades. They're good at things, at a lot of things, but there are other ones that are more specialized for certain things. All right. Kim asks, is there an AI for transaction coordinators? That's where the AI assistants come in, Kim. So literally you can create an AI assistant to almost replace a transaction coordinator, or at least help them do their job a lot faster and more automated. All right. Bunch of compliments. Love that. Laura asked, what about Grok? Grok is really not fully out there yet, so it's kind of hard to evaluate it. Like they're kind of playing catch up very quickly. And if you don't know, Grok is the one that Elon Musk is building. Elon Musk was originally part of ChatGPT, or part of OpenAI, and now he's kind of putting out his own because they're kind of fighting between the two of them. So it's not really fully ready to kind of compare. All right, Malik said, thank you. I'm an early adopter in my SOI, and everyone looks at me like I'm crazy. So good to hear someone who knows. Oh, thank you. Appreciate that. That was just a compliment. I thought it was more of a question there. All right, Andy asked, how do you connect with me? If I just back up one slide, okay, there's my email address or my websites. You can get those there. It's probably the best ways to get a hold of me. Oh, thank you guys. Seeing a lot of compliments. And I'm going to look at the Q&A in just a moment, see if we missed anything. All right, Roy asked, I use the paid version of ChatGPT. When I upload a PDF for it to search and provide specific date, it is often wrong. Is there a way to prevent this? No, that is one of the big issues with AI is a lot of times it just gives incorrect information. So like I mentioned, you do not just copy and paste anything. You really got to go through and check everything and make sure it's right. Again, that last 10% might even be more than 10% you got to do is extremely important so you don't publish something incorrect or misleading, or even worse, get you in legal trouble. All right, so now let me go through the Q&A, see if we missed anything there. All right, same question that person asked over in the chat, so we got that one. All right, Lima asked, or oh, I got your name right. I am very interested in creating images through AI tools. Would you please let me know which AI tool I can use for it? Do I need to worry about copyright? So Lima, I showed you that one slide that had both the vendors above the line and below the line. Those are all your different, and there's more than those, but those are kind of your big AI image creation tools. Again, above that line, the ones like Dolly inside of ChatGPT, Image Gen inside of Google Gemini, Canva, Magic Media, those are all come with your accounts. If you're happy with it, you're good. If you do want even greater image creation, you can look at one like Midjourney or Ideogram. All right, Jessica asked, I tried to use it edit words on a picture with Canva, but it was really hard to edit the words. Is there a class I teach in that? Yep, I do workshops all the time on this stuff. But by the way, again, if you take a picture into Canva, the two best tools you need to learn how to use are Magic Text and Magic Grab. Okay. Magic Text will automatically identify all the text on a picture and make it clickable, where you can just click on any of the words in it and just type the words you'd rather have there, or delete them if you don't want the words at all, and you can add it in with your own text inside of Canva. So Magic Text automatically identifies all the text. So if there's something spelled wrong, that makes it very quick to edit or delete that text in there. Okay. And then Magic Grab allows you to kind of separate anything in that picture into layers. So if you want to get rid of boxes, you want to get rid of too much furniture in the room, whatever it might be, Magic Grab allows you to click on anything and say, delete it or move it around, resize it, whatever you want to do. So Magic Grab and Magic Edit are really the tools you need to use in Canva to help you fix AI pictures. Okay. All right. She also asked, with AI technique, there's more and more scams and spams in our life. It's horrible. That is absolutely true. The same way we have access to these tools, so do the bad people. Okay. All right, Jessica asked, is there a particular prompt that you use for AI to be better with the output? Some mention an acronym, RAFA. I'm not sure what RAFA stands for. I haven't heard that one before. But when I teach, again, I do longer versions of this and workshops and everything. But when I teach AI, what I'm really kind of big on is there is no specific way to prompt. There's no, you have to do it this way, in this order, in this structure. Your grammar spelling has to be perfect. Prompting is very conversational. So the same way you would talk to a person, if you had an assistant, that's the way you talk to AI. You just tell it what you want it to do conversationally. Okay. So I do teach different tricks of how to, what you can put into prompts. There's different like pieces, but again, it's very conversational. All right, that's a bunch of thank yous. Answer that one, that one. All right, good final question, by the way, Chris. For someone who's never used AI, where should you start? Okay. What I always say is, to me, the two tools, I always say you want the paid versions, not the free versions, from a legal standpoint, from a security standpoint, and everything. So to me, I would say there's two things that are almost like you got to buy. Okay. One is you pick your main platform you're going to buy, whether that's ChatGPT or Google Gemini or one of the other ones that are out there, but pick one major platform that you could use for all your ideas and your content and writing material and all that stuff. Okay. Then combine that with Canva Pro. To me, that's the perfect combination because that really allows you then build beautiful looking stuff. So just get in there and play around. There's tons of instructional videos on the internet. I have a lot on my RETI site with the stuff like this. But again, really it's about getting in there and playing around and getting more comfortable with these tools. But either pick a ChatGPT or Gemini, then get Canva Pro, and then there's a lot of ways you can combine them together to do amazing things. Oh, thank you guys. I love all these compliments. All right, any other last second questions? How can we revise the material to get AI tools and company names to consider using in the future? Raj, it's again, you really want to teach it your persona. You want to go in and teach it who you are, how you like to communicate, what you like in your imagery, and so on. Plus, every prompt you write, I always say if it does a good job, compliment it. If it does a bad job, scold it. Tell the AI I don't like this and why you don't like it. Tell it I love it. This is great if it does a good job. That way, again, it really learns more and more about you and your personality and your style. Ah, you're welcome, guys. Jason just asked which one's my favorite video editor. Again, I have canceled a few accounts and moved almost everything to HeyGen because HeyGen does so many cool things. So that's HeyGen. Welcome, guys. All right, Savannah, you're there?
I am. Yeah, thank you so much, Craig. We really appreciate everything.
Always.
I have a very good feeling that everybody's going to be watching this video at least one or two more times. I will for sure.
And again, the slide deck has way more. Like if you guys want extra bonus stuff.
So our goal is to have this webinar edited and sent out to you by the end of the day tomorrow. It's also going to be available on our YouTube channel for a little bit. Also, I'm going to include information on how you can sign up for our next month's webinar, which is going to be Conversations on Housing on April 2nd. So again, thank you so much, Craig. I really appreciate it. And I hope you all have a great rest of your week. Thank you.
Same. Thanks, guys. Everyone have a great day.